Well, I thought my decision to become a professional artist would mean submitting to stress. The never-ending carousel of rejections, the ramen noodle dinners, and of course, peaked anxiety anytime that I checked my bank account. And while all of those things are certainly part of the experience, one conversation a couple years ago helped me realize that being an artist is so much more than meager living. Creativity isn't about choosing one identity, one career, or one linear path. It is about embracing the power of yes and. But where did I begin learning such an important truth? Well, it began October 15th, and I was having dinner with a group of artists. I soon began talking with Malik Yoba, an actor known for his work on NYPD, and he began sharing his wisdom for those just entering the artistic world. About midway through our conversation, I jokingly called myself a starving artist, hoping to gain some type of sympathy, but Yoba's reaction gave me the impression that that phrase was off limits. He quickly spoke an important truth over me, a sort of North Star that I think about almost daily for the life of a chaotic artist. He said, "You are not a starving artist. You are someone with access to the rich opportunities that art provides you." Wealth of opportunities. Gigs felt scarce, hard to come by, and rooted in personal connection. Yoba could sense my confusion. He said, "Expand your skill set. Try your hand at everything. You will soon see that your dripping faucet of opportunity turns into a deep well." I took this advice mostly because I had nothing better to do, and I have never looked back. Broadway obviously didn't come knocking at my door that day, but I got something even better. A new perspective on creativity, a perspective that makes the late nights and the frustrations and the pettiness all worth it. A perspective that allows my interests and my passions to blend in an energizing way. Let me explain. We are told to be the best at one thing, at one dance, at one type of performance, and while that is helpful, I want to propose that creativity is more to do with combining than inventing, more to do with being uniquely yourself rather than creating a box around your interests, more to do with embracing the power of yes and. Of course, this all sounds a little idealistic and perhaps a bit cliche. So let me tell you a story of when I thought I had to choose between two different pursuits. For some context, this is my mom. My mom is a chiropractor, the first in her family to earn a doctorate degree and the source of my career inspiration. She showed me how beautiful it can be to help people. And from the ripe age of, 3 years old, I knew that I wanted to do that too. School soon came and science became a love language for me. I was going to be a doctor, just like her. But then enter stage right. I meet the messy boyfriend of theater. Passionate, emotional, and honestly, captivating. The stage became my second home, and art took up a real estate in my soul. By 2020, I reached the infamous time that we ask 18-year-olds to decide their future. College decisions. And here I was, my heart split between two different love interests, faced with decision paralysis. The hundreds of college pamphlets that I had received in the mail had convinced me into a binary way of thinking: one college, one degree, one career. Art or science. Stage or lab coat. I sat at the kitchen table, my teenage mind grappling, and my mom asked me two seemingly redundant questions. She said, "If you never pursue a career in healthcare, will you be okay with that?" Well, I quickly answered, no. Science gave my mind a purpose. In her scrubs, she smiled and said, "Okay then. If you never pursue a career in the arts, would you be okay with that?" And as much as my still developing brain could process, I said no. Art allowed me to explain what reasoning could not. She got it from the table and simply said, "Okay then." She didn't tell me what to choose, but her question sent me into a tailspin. She revealed my codependency on the need to bring everything back to the basics, to black and white thinking. But what if Abe Tannenbaum had it right? What if a creative person is meant to live in ambiguity? What if this tension between science and the arts wasn't a problem to solve, but the very path toward my greatest creativity? What if I became someone more eager to use the word "and" instead of "or"? Well, over the next 3 years, I did just that, and I chose to put my faith in the power of complements over substitutes. I pursued 2 degrees and earned a Bachelor of Arts in Musical Theater right here at Columbia College Chicago, and a Bachelor of Science in Speech and Hearing Science at Arizona State University. And currently, I am on track to earn my Master's in Speech Language Pathology. And for anyone unfamiliar with the field of speech language pathology, I like to describe it as a career where I will get to teach people how to talk back. And this can range from pediatric speech therapy to geriatric stroke rehabilitation in a hospital setting. At the end of the day, though, these degrees, well, they are just merely pieces of paper. But what they have inspired in me is priceless. Giving my brain more creative outlets has repaid me with new opportunities and perspectives. Understanding a scientific field has given me a logic-driven mindset, allowing for my artistic work to have a sense of clarity and order. Any script analysis, self-tape, or character work is now done with thoughtful calculation and vice versa. A degree in musical theater has infused my work as a future speech-language pathologist with music and creativity. Client appointments, resource creation, and treatment planning are now influenced by theater techniques and music theory. As Hannah Montana says, it really is the best of both worlds. And these seemingly polarized fields have so much to do with each other. And putting myself on a daily treasure hunt to find their crossovers is what keeps my creativity alive. But I am here to show, not just tell. So let me give you a specific example of how this crossover hunt helped me innovatively problem solve. I walked into a therapy room one day covered in Mickey Mouse stickers, ready to greet a new patient of mine. Let's say her name is Sarah. Sarah was a nonverbal 5-year-old diagnosed with severe autism spectrum disorder. She came from a difficult family background, and she had the functional skill set of a 1-year-old. Her past therapy notes from other speech therapists wrote of little to no success, and she was passed from caseload to caseload. That day, I watched her wander the classroom, unable to interact with her peers or make any type of functional request. But then music entered the picture. I turned on Bluey, of course, and her head whipped around. She made direct eye contact with me, laughed, and began singing along to that theme song in perfect pitch. I soon realized, well, music was my way in. taking all that my musical theater degree had taught me about intonation, pitch, and rhythm, I began applying these concepts to our therapy sessions, creating different rhythm patterns to match functional phrases that I was teaching her, such as "let's go," "an open door." And I will never forget what happened next. Communication. Sarah began responding to these intonation patterns that I was teaching her, and one October morning, she looked right into my eyes and said, "Open door." And yes, I did cry, because her success through art and speech therapy became my joy. We are going to come back to this, but I want everyone to take a look at this slide. You see, for me, I am an artist and a future speech-language pathologist. So take a moment and think. How would you fill in that slide? You see, this yes and mentality allows you to create in a way that aligns with your own diverse set of interests. It makes creativity sustainable and not only infuses your art, but gives life to you as an artist and the people that you are and will impact. It takes the North Star of expanding your skill set that I learned at that dinner conversation with Malik and gives it real life application. But how do I exist in a yes and mindset without generating burnout? Reels and TikToks have filled our minds with the idea that if I just drink celery juice, I will cure an overbooked schedule. 5 a.m. morning routine vlogs have fed me the lie that if I just do red light therapy and buy a Pilates reformer, I will somehow cure the dehydrated wrinkles already developing on my forehead. Though nothing is inherently wrong with our generation's current wellness fascination, what often isn't discussed is how to move forward when that celery juice just runs out. When I was 17, I went to a performing arts intensive, and a now mentor, Dave Clemens, gave a helpful framework for managing this fatigue. He's known by many for his work in the arts, but what he's known to me as is the man who told me to fail forward. The fail forward mentality is a mindset shift that challenges anyone to see failure as movement. Even if the result is not what you intended and that movement pushes you backward, that is still movement. That is still change. The greatest death that a career can suffer is a slow and stagnant one. You see, the opposite of loving your career is not hating it. It's indifference, just not caring anymore. So if I fail, let it be a beautiful, emotion-filled mistake. If none of the doors I knock on open, let me be so persistent that I find myself in a new neighborhood. Let me fail forward with the fuel gained of pursuing all of who I am instead of merely skating by on the acceptance of one label. Because you see, the pain of creating your own box will always carry you further than living in a box already made for you. So what do I do when the celery juice runs out, that Pilates reformer breaks, and the silence from my career path feels deafening? I exhale. I exhale and I place myself back in this girl's shoes. Back to the conversation with my mom at that kitchen table, grappling over a college decision. Back to my conversations with Malik and Dave, and I begin to breathe in what I have been so graciously taught by these mentors of mine. Take a stage combat class, figure out how to code, start memorizing a new work, generate a list of diverse and tangible steps toward your goals that reflect the whole of who you are. The beautiful thing about humanity is that we are just that, humans. There's a reason many of us wanted to be signed up for 5 different after-school clubs when we were younger. It's because our interests are as diverse as we are. Yes, I am an artist and a future speech-language pathologist, so I will again simply leave you with this slide. How would you fill in these blanks? And what is one step, one goal that you will make today to choose the and instead of the or? Thank you.